Welcome back. Now that you know what a list is and how it works, let's practice by building a small project that uses lists to organize information. We'll keep it simple and build one step at a time. We're going to build a simple to-do list program where you can view your list of tasks, add new tasks, and remove tasks. We'll use basic loops and a list. Let's get straight to some code. First and foremost, we're going to print a simple message to our user. Which will be the title of our project. We can say something like simple to-do list manager. And because this is a to-do list manager, we need somewhere to keep track of all the tasks that we have on our to-do list. After this module, we learned that we have different data structures that we can use to keep track of multiple values. So we're going to use a list for this scenario. And this list is going to be called tasks. And when we first start off, tasks should be empty since we have yet to add any tasks. After we provide our user with the title of our program and we create this empty list, we should provide the user with some kind of menu that allows them to select different options. And we can do that with a very simple way by using a while loop. The while loop can run continuously as the user is interacting with the interface. And we can do that by doing something like while true. The while true will by default run automatically and pass, allowing this while loop to run and display to us our message. Within this message, we want to display to the user every possible option that they have at their disposal. So let's go ahead and print out something like options. The first option should be to view tasks. The second option should be something like add tasks. The third option should be able to remove or delete tasks. And finally, we should have a way to exit out within this loop. So we can say something like exit, allowing the user to stop this program and no longer interact with our interface. So as the user continues with this loop, every single time the user does something, they should be able to know what the menu provides for them. After we provide for them a display of our interface, we need to receive input from the user, which we can save to a variable. So we can say choice, and choice is going to have the value that returns after requesting input from the user. So we can say choose an option and let them know that they should choose between 1 and 4. After we receive input from the user, let's check what their input is. We can say if choice is equal to 1, well, then they should be able to view their tasks. If it's equal to 2, then we should add. 3, remove tasks. 4, exit out. We'll take it one step at a time. If they choose to view tasks, there's two possible scenarios here. What happens if task is empty? Well, it wouldn't make sense to just not show anything, so we should take into account if there's no task, we should let the user know there is no tasks. And if there is, we should show them every individual task one at a time. So we can say if not tasks, or we can also check the length of this list by saying if the length of tasks is less than 1, or if it's equal to 0. There's many ways to check if there's any task. Whatever method you decide to go with, it's going to be up to you, but ultimately, as long as we're able to check if there's tasks or not, that's really what matters here. So I'll just stick to the first option, which says if not tasks, which is going to check if task is an empty list or if not. And if it's not tasks, we should say no tasks yet. But if that fails, we should have an else statement. And this else statement should say something like your tasks And afterwards, we need to iterate through every individual task within this list. And we know that we can do that by using a for loop. Now, there's two ways that we can do this for loop. We could say something like for task and tasks, which will allow us to iterate through every individual task at a time. Or we can use a for I in range, which is the method that I'm going to go with. That way, not only can I access each task with the index, but I can use that index to create a nice and neatly formatted string that can show the number of that task as it iterates through it. So we can say for I in range, and the range should be the length of our task list. And we should print out a formatted string where the first item should be the task we're on. So it should be I plus 1. And we do plus 1 because, as we've known, the range method by default starts at 0. So we need to take into account the way that it starts. We could either override the range method, or we can simply just do I plus 1. Should be followed by a period to stick to the formatting. And then afterwards, we should be able to provide the tasks. So we can access it by using index notation. Task at index 0 should show us the very first one. And for every iteration, tasks will increment, therefore showing us each task that comes afterwards. Now, before I move forward, let's go ahead and add the way to exit out of this program so we can make sure that everything's working as intended. So let's go ahead and do an elif statement and check if choice is equal to 4. And if it is equal to 4, I should be able to exit out. So let's go ahead and print goodbye. And I'm going to say break to break out of this while loop. Now, what happens if they don't add or give us some form of input that we take into account? Well, that's where the else statement comes into play. If we don't get a number between 1 and 4, we should be able to say something like invalid choice. Please select 1 through 4. Now we run this. I see here I get to choose an option. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to say view tasks. I see here no tasks yet. We can go ahead and add a task later. But for now, let's go ahead and exit out by saying 4. And we exit, so we get goodbye. So it's working so far as intended. Let's go ahead and add upon our code. So currently we have the 1 taken care of. Let's add something in here. So between the if statement and the elif statement, I'm going to go ahead and make some space here for another elif statement. And this should be if choice is equal to 2, then I need to create a new task. But I don't know what the task is. So ideally, I should ask the user for some input. I should say something like new task is equal to the input from the user, or we do enter the new task. They will give us the task, be saved to the variable, and we're going to want to add this to our task list. So we can say task.append and pass in new task. Next, we can also add a nice print statement that gives the user some form of feedback, like add a task and passing the task that was added. That way they have an idea if this has worked or not. With that in mind, let's go ahead and give it a try. We can run this. I'm going to go ahead and add a task. I see here it says enter the new task. Let's go with wash the car. We submit. And I can go ahead and exit. And we can look at our output. I see here that when I chose option 2 to add a task, I enter the task of wash the car. I get the print statement of added task. So I know it worked successfully. Well, let's go ahead and add our last functionality, which is removing the task. So between the elif statement for choice 2 and 4, we're going to go ahead and make some space. And we're going to say elif choice is equal to 3, I can say if not tasks, I should print out no task to remove. We need to check if task is empty. What is the point to request the user to remove something if they can't even remove anything if it's empty? So we need to take that possibility into account. And if it's not empty, I should be able to delete one of these. Well, how do they know what to delete? Well, maybe we should be able to display to the user what task we have. So we can say for I in range, once again, where we can iterate through all our tasks. And let's print out our tasks again, just like we did with option 1. And I can just kind of copy and paste here to save some time. There we go. And after we display to the user the task that we have available to us, we can grab the task they want to remove by creating a variable called task number that's going to take input from the user. They can say enter the task number to remove. Now, chances are we're probably going to want to use this number as a way to access it by index. So maybe instead of taking a string, we should convert this to an integer. By using typecasting, we pass the int wrapper, and we can use that integer to access the index of the item we're trying to remove. So we can say if 1 is less than or equal to task number, or less than or equal to length of tasks, then we should do something. Well, what is this code saying? Well, first and foremost, we want to make sure that the item they're grabbing is within the range of the items that we have within our task list. We also want to make sure that it doesn't exceed or is less than how many items we have. So first and foremost, let's make sure they didn't just pass in 0. We can grab one number by using 1, since we know that our tasks are numbered for 1 and up. And we also want to make sure that that number they give us does not exceed the range of it. Afterwards, we can say something like remove task is equal to task.pop, pass in the task number that we're trying to remove from this list. And we have to take into account the indexing, so we're going to go ahead and subtract 1. Since we know our tasks are numbered from 1 and above, but we're doing indexing to access the numbers within the list, we need to subtract 1 to take that into account. And the reason why we use pop is because pop allows us to save the value that we removed from the list and save it into a variable, which we can then use to print out a nice, neatly formatted string for the user that shows them what was successfully removed. Like this, we can say remove task and then pass in the remove task. And in the event that they fail to give us one of the tasks that we want to remove, we should say invalid task number. So once again, from the top, we show the user the task that we have available to us. We ask the user for a number. If that number is 2, then obviously we need to make sure that number is greater than 0 and it does not exceed the amount of items we have. If there's 3 items, then there should not be a 4 or a 5 given to us as input. Afterwards, once we have something that is acceptable, we then remove it by using the list name followed by the .pop method, which is going to remove an item at an index. We do that by passing the task number provided to us by the user, subtract 1 to take into account the 0 indexing of lists. And we use this value saved into the variable to print out a neatly formatted message for the user to have some kind of context of what happened. Next, we can run this. Let's go ahead and add a task. I'm going to say wash car. I can also say make lunch. Let's go ahead and choose an option between 1 and 4. We can remove a task, enter the task number to remove. I want to remove 1. And let's go ahead and exit out. So I see here that I gave it the option to, so I added wash car, Afterwards, I forgot to choose a selection here. So as you see here, instead of adding a number, I added make lunch. I didn't choose whether I want to add a task or remove a task. I didn't pass in a proper number between 1 and 4, so I get my invalid choice of please select 1 through 4. So I know my else statement is working. Afterwards, I properly give it the task that I want to do, which is remove a task, 3. I pass in the number of the task that we're trying to remove, which is 1. I see here remove task of wash car, and I'm able to exit out. Notice how we used a list to store the tasks. We used a while loop for the menu, and we used loops to display the list of tasks, as well as some additional functionality like some if-else statements. We took some f strings in here as well. We used some built-in list methods. Great job building your first list-based application. In a future module, we'll learn about functions and how to make this code even cleaner and easier to manage.